everybody, and welcome to the Generations News Channel. Our first news story is about the Second Great Awakening. Over to Salem.
Thank you, Jenna. The new Christian renewal movement, known as the Second Great Awakening, has rapidly swept through the towns across upstate New York and even as far as New England and the South. This movement is mostly led by Charles Gadsden Finney. In 1812, Finney left his job as a lawyer and started preaching. Finney was also known for challenging some Protestant beliefs. His motto was that the individual was responsible for their own salvation and that sin was 100% avoidable. Finney was held several revivals as well, causing a ton of people to switch to Christianity. Even though Finney had only good intentions, several traditional ministers are angered by his actions. A traditional minister named Lyman Beecher especially opposed Finney and wanted to prevent him from holding revivals in the city of Boston. "You mean to carry a stake of fire to Boston? If you attempt it, as the Lord liveth, I'll meet you and fight every inch of the way," says Beecher. Even though Beecher and other traditional ministers opposed Finney, his church members, who mainly consist of women and African Americans, have been able to get what they want, and now the Second Great Awakening has occurred. Back to you, Jenna.
Thanks so much for the story, Salem. Our next story will be about improvements in education. Over to you, Isabel.
After so many years of public education, things have finally changed for the better. Say goodbye to the days of varying education systems. Now England will no longer have an insane amount of schools, and the South and West will no longer lack schools. Teachers will now be properly educated to teach students, and you know that your children will be given a quality education instead of just relying on McGuffey's readers. All of these changes are thanks to Horace Mann. Let's ask some local parents how they feel about these changes. How do you feel about these changes, Mrs. Ham Sandwich?
I'm loving these changes. I have a 12-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy, and every day at dinner they talk about what they learned at school. It may not seem like a big deal from an outsider's perspective, but my children used to hate school and say that it wasn't challenging enough. But now the tables have turned thanks to these changes.
Thanks so much, Mrs. Ham Sandwich. What do you think, Miss Clementine?
Well, as a mother of living in the South with a 14-year-old son, I'm so glad that there are so many more schools. I felt like my child wasn't getting the best quality education in his old school with up to 50 students in one classroom. All I can say is that I love these changes because now his class is only 20 students that are all his age.
Thanks so much, Ms. Clementine. As you can see, the mothers are satisfied with these changes for the most part. Horace Mann calls this major improvement in education the common school movement, meaning that all children are taught in a common place, regardless of background. The common school movement in public schools isn't the only major education improvements either. There's more. Catherine Beecher started an all-female, along with that Thomas Gallaudet, opened a special needs school specializing in teaching blind and deaf people. Overall, these movements in education have changed things for the better. Back to you, Jenna.
Our next story is about how Americans are taking steps to create a slavery abolition or a complete end to slavery. Over to you, Salem.
Thank you so much, Jenna. Yes, abolition is finally a possibility in American society. The official end to slavery is the only possibility because of the abolitionists who oppose slavery for various reasons. For example, the Quakers think that slavery is wrong on religious grounds, while others think that it is just plain unconstitutional. Even though all of these abolitionists support ending slavery, they don't agree on all of the details. Some people thought that African Americans and former slaves should get the same rights as white men, while others don't think that they should get full political and social equality. Some people believe that African Americans and former slaves should get the same rights as white men, while others don't think that they should get full political and social equality. Other than those two popular opinions, same people also think that free Americans should be sent back to the African Americans to start new colonies. Not only would this opinion help grow colonial Americans, it would also help prevent conflicts between the race and the United States. This seems like a reasonable decision at first, but many Americans, former colonization supporters, and former free Africans opposed this. For example, David Walker was an opposer. In 1829, he wrote an essay called The Appeal to the Colored Citizens of the World. Back to you, Jenna.
Thank you so much, Salem. Now to Isabel with the weather.
Thank you, Jenna. As you can see here, today is a beautiful day. It's currently 80 degrees, sunny, and there's only a 20% chance of rain. But unfortunately, as the week goes on, it just gets gloomier and gloomier. As you can see, by Friday, there's going to be a rainstorm, but hopefully things will stay sunny next week. Back to you, Jenna.
Well, that concludes our daily newscast. Have a good night, and we hope to see you all tomorrow.